This is Pitch Please, the show where people who play games pitch ideas to people who make them. This week, that you actually get a proper confirmation, like a proper reception back from the aliens, or you see the lights in the sky.
And it's an Arecibo dick message, right?
And it's just a giant. It says Carl Sagan's cock sent back to him, saying, "Please, don't send this again." Hello, welcome to Pitch Please. My name's Alex. I'm drinking whiskey. I'm joined by developer Chris from Foggybox.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm drinking piss.
I'm also joined by developer James from Catastrophic Overload.
Hello, I'm drinking Coke.
Hello, I'm also joined by Thomas, the Ideas Engine.
Hey, what up?
Chugga, chugga, chugga.
Chugga, chug, chug. I'm drinking my iced coffee.
What you got there?
Yum, yum.
Okay, I thought it was chocolate milk.
Is this an ASMR podcast now? Because I can slurp up a storm.
I wanted to get it out of the way because I know that we're all on video, and I know usually I waste a lot of money on getting a coffee ordered.
Did you get this whiskey delivered?
Whenever we record this podcast, but I already had whiskey and it's very hot, and I figured that if I was to suddenly start drinking it mid podcast, someone would make some kind of comment on it.
Yeah,
I'm just getting it out there,
especially because it's 8 a.m. Day drinking is not a good thing, Alex.
I just need to take the edge off.
Oh, okay. Right? The edge of waking up.
Still drinking from the night before.
The edge of being alive. Stop. All right. Anyway, energy.
That's how you do it.
What's going on, Tom?
Oh God, it's a hot day, isn't it? It's a real hot day here in Britain.
Real dying.
If you're in America and you look at the temperature, it's only 27 degrees. I could survive that. You can't. All right, it's not like that here. It doesn't work that way. But you know, the best outfit to fend off that heat, tinfoil hats. You're right. Because I want to talk about a new game idea. Yeah. Well, kind of a new game idea. This time, I don't have a game in mind or gameplay or anything like that.
Okay.
I almost have the premise, the story potentially of a game. And I want to see. This is great.
This is perfect for our developers.
I want to see if
they make a game out of your idea.
Make a game out of my idea. See if we can maybe formulate this into a game, or maybe it's just a bad movie, right? Now, for some context, so recently, you might have seen this, there was a government whistleblower, someone who works at UFO scanning corps. I can't remember the exact name of it. It's some guy who works at the UFO detection agency as part of the government in America. I don't know. He's come out.
What's really good, Tom, is the amount of information that you clearly know about this story, and you're trying to then retell us this. So I eagerly await the factual mistakes that are going to occur.
There's going to be no factual mistakes because I'm not going to get into details.
Right.
Basically, he's come out, and it's credible because he's this guy that works for the government, and it literally in the department that would know this. Maybe he just bumped his head on the way into work. And is now gone insane. I don't know. I'm not going to jump into the conspiracies of it, but he's come out and said the American government 100% has exotic materials from outer space, and goes so far as to say they have recovered alien corpses. Now,
what?
I mean, look.
Bullshit.
What? How did I not know about this?
Sorry about that. It's hay fever.
I don't know if just because someone works at a place, they are a credible source of information. If a doctor turned around and said, I've discovered a brand new organ in this one person, and you're like, what proof do you have? And you go, I'm a doctor.
Well, I mean,
I would believe that.
Yeah, but what if being a doctor was a very, very exclusive kind of job that only maybe 20 people have?
Okay.
Then you're like, okay. I mean, you're an expert.
To preface that, I'm all in on aliens. Let's fucking go. Love me an alien. So I'm not trying to just poo-poo it.
His name is David Grush, a former Pentagon official. He was an intelligence officer working on the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office the Department of Defense's UFO research wing. He'll know, right?
And that is a lot to put on a CV.
It's a
He's got the
double-sided
scoop.
business card easily.
Yeah, this guy, if he comes out and says that in 1933, underneath the Mussolini government, that the Vatican hid a UFO cover-up, you're going to believe him, right?
No, see, that's the thing. As soon as you start involving religion, people will start spiraling, saying they're just trying to cover it up because of all the ramifications that would have.
Okay.
This is now turned into a conspiracy podcast.
Well, Just hope an alien. Is that what you're saying?
So
Yes.
initially he came out and said that the government has literally got their hands on alien materials, right? But now he got a little bit of attention. Now he's going a bit loco with it. People have been killed to protect the secret. The UFOs have gotten aggressive in the past. Stuff like this. And a private contractor is currently storing a UFO. These are the sort of claims that he's making, right? But the reason I'm...
Oh my God, do you reckon it's like the big yellow storage house?
It's storage hunters, exactly, but alien storage hunters.
Oh my God, like an episode of Storage Wars where they open up the container. It's one of the ones where they don't open the container. They're like, I'll take this for £50.
Yeah, $20. And it's like, you've got unobtainium. Well done.
Yeah.
Oh shit, this will go for a bit,
Like
won't it?
behind all the
Just a grey in there with a
cupboards
shotgun.
and lockers, there's just a rotting alien misshapen corpse.
So they just open it. He's just feeding off ants on the floor.
That is a fucking that is an incredible idea.
There's an actual living creature in the back, like sucking the soul out of it.
It's just licking moisture off the wall. Help me.
Oh, I think I
love it.
I think I got my money's worth with this one. Oh, I need to take this to a pawn shop real quick. Let me just call an expert. David Grush.
Is that
David
the exotic materials they have? It's not. It's pornography. It's alien pornography.
Just some guy in a storage box. Oh, fuck me. That's good. Anyway, this obviously for some reason just made me think of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Why? Oh God knows why. And also the Arecibo message. Have you ever heard of the Arecibo message?
No.
So this is
No. Sorry, I just felt left out.
in 1974. It was a man called Frank Drank. Frank Drank.
Frank Drank. Get your service.
It was Frank Drake at Cornell University. With the help of Carl Sagan, he sent out a message to the stars. Specifically, the intended destination being the M13 cluster.
Just off the M4.
Oh, God, that's a second behind you.
What's so special about the M13 cluster?
It's just a big old cluster of potentially life.
Most possibility of life.
Yeah, I
Big
suppose.
old cluster, Alex.
Okay.
But the message is like a binary sound that is being sent out over radio. And
Beep, boop.
if you arrange it in a particular way, it creates an image. And the image, I mean,
It's just a dick.
Chris, I knew someone had to.
That's intergalactic nude. It's just Carl Sagan. He's like, look, we've told them it's like really like amazing. It's just my knob at the resolution of the Game Boy Color camera adapter.
It was sent out in 1974. It's apparently going to take 25,000 light years to get there. So in 25,000 years, someone's going to be like, oh, we're receiving
Another one.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
That's the third one. The last 200,000 years.
The thing is that's the first time we figured out how to do it. So it took 25,000 years to do it to get there. But then after that, they get a new one every day.
Yeah,
Carl Sagan's just been sending them for 30 years.
Carl Sagan's been drunk texting the aliens again.
I feel like he's been dead for a while, so it'd be a bit weird.
But the image itself is strange. It's meant to sort of. It is kind of like an 8-bit sort of Game Boy image, if you look at a picture of it. It's like 10 tiles wide by like 30 tiles tall, and it's got all these weird little diagrams on there. They're literally doing sprite art. One of them is like this red sort of pixelated image of a human for some reason. There's loads of like diagrams, one of which indicates our solar system and our planet in there, and it's just it's a garbled mess, basically.
This is a screenshot from Manic Miner. Can't say you can't fool me.
But if an alien was to receive that message, they theoretically, given the correct level of intelligence, they would understand the binary, understand how to create this image properly, and then somehow like look at this image and say, okay, I understand what the Arecibo message is, and it's like meant to be the most up-to-date sort of idea of human intelligence. Obviously 25,000 years in the past at the time of reading this, so we'll be dead by then. But
we'll intercept it. We'll get there before it doesn't be like, unsend, and then just...
You have to chase it down.
That's try and talk about that.
You just catch a radio wave in a net, right? So yeah, it's this weird message that it also... Have you ever watched the film Contact? I know I'm bringing in a lot of context here, but Contact...
It was a great film.
In that they try to communicate with like prime numbers, I think, and they're saying like maths is the only language that everyone will understand.
It's a universal constant, Tom. That's why.
Yeah, so that's how they communicate. But in this,
Arrival's a little bit like that as well, right?
Sure, yeah, I haven't watched it, but theoretically, if someone is to receive some alien life form is to receive this message, they'll have a good idea of what it is to be a human. And we'll understand, these guys, they didn't send a dick pic, so they must be good people. Now, my idea is what if Close Encounters style, because in Close Encounters, he is sculpting Devil's Peak right out of mashed potato and shit because he's receiving this message. He's seen this image of the idea of an alien message coming into land and make first contact, I suppose. What if you were the guy that receives an alien version of the Arecibo message? Like, it is just a garbled mess, and you're trying to understand what it is. Maybe in this instance, it could be they're just sending an alien language, and you have to decipher it. Maybe it is, I don't know, some form of Morse code, binary, that sort of thing, and you're trying to piece it together. This is all while, I guess, trying to contact the government and say, hey, I know what's going on. They're coming and they're peaceful. But then the government's like, oh, we're going to fucking gun them down. And like, no, I'm receiving a message from Jay Flortman and he's a chill, cool guy.
He signed it.
Like the message you've received.
How are you receiving this message?
89.
You are in a old radio truck.
What year is this?
1982.
Okay. Right.
For some,
like ream
no
print.
further
How is it printed out? Is it just like on a ream of paper and we rip it off?
I mean, you've seen like old UFO chasing sort of vehicles, right? They've got scanners. They've got like all these different weird at the time.
And how well has that gone for them so far?
Well, so you're the one that does it.
So this is a guy who actually is actively looking for UFO messages. He's out there.
Well, maybe.
He's kind of like almost a conspiracy nut, but it actually happens.
Possibly. I mean, the idea being that these aren't an alien life form that are hundreds of thousands of years more advanced than us. They're at the same sort of technological level where they've sent out their Arecibo message and you're receiving it. It's not like they're just folding space and appearing above the atmosphere and saying like, hey, what up? And you're trying to decipher what up means.
Well, I mean, that's quite easy
language.
to decipher because it's in English.
No, because they have like a almost Pig Latin style languge.
Right.
And it actually means it means you can die.
Right, okay.
Now, I don't know the structure of their language, but maybe over the course of the game, you are identifying and understanding what it means.
You would need... The problem is with the initial message is that no one would understand it because there's no like initial like
no
key,
context,
right?
Well,
you need to have a pattern, but you don't know what that you need. As long as you have like one thing.
What if? So it's static, it's noise, right?
Yeah.
For some reason, you're like, oh, I'm sure I can hear something in this, And everyone else is just like, it's just static, it's noise, whatever. Ignore it. But the game starts and you're like, I think, like, this is just a guaranteed given at the very beginning of the game. They're like, right, I've identified this letter, for example. And then that gives you the groundwork to then start advancing from there. Like the sentence is structured.
I just imagined you said that only you can hear it. It's just everyone else hears like, tss, and you just say, Steve.
Hey, what up?
What up, Steve? That symbol is an A.
But maybe there's like the sentence. I mean, I guess ultimately what I'm building towards is a puzzle game where you've got this very defined sentence, very defined like code that you've been given, that if you've you've been given the letter H, for example, you know that when there's two letters together, it can only mean hi. So you know that second letter, that sort of sequence of bleeps or dots or that symbol or whatever is therefore an I.
But that's assuming that their alphabet, you can spell words in English in the same amount of characters.
Well, maybe they've got a couple of letters that go outside of that 26 letter limitation and they're like combo letters.
No, I mean like their word for hello could be 10 characters. So they're going to use those 10 characters, even if they line up to coincide with our alphabet. The word hi for them could be like flea lob or something. And you're like, it says flea lob. I have no context for that.
Okay. So you also need to then, after deciphering what the bleeps and bloops mean, then need to, much like the Arecibo message, it just creates this image that doesn't look correct. It doesn't look finished, but somehow you're meant to identify that the green symbols on there is the atomic numbers for hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen. Somehow.
No, because that is a standard, right? So the atomic numbers are made up of, I'm going to butcher this, like the electrons and the other lads.
Neutrons.
That's the one, protons. Probably. Protons that are in an atom of that. So if they know about the atomic structure of a hydrogen atom, they know that coincides, because that doesn't change.
Okay.
As far as as far as our extent of that knowledge goes.
I'm telling you,
but
look at this image.
I know, but like they are at least using things which, as long as their society has a level of intelligence similar to ours, that they would have a comparison of that number that they would then end up being able to match that to. It's the same with the solar system thing. If you have the ability to see the other solar system, and we sent that image, you could essentially at least narrow it down to the solar systems that have the same number of planets in.
True. I mean, the solar system bit is the bit that most makes sense. It's
I think the atomic thing makes the most sense.
But
to be a complete nerd, there's an episode of Stargate that references a true universal language, which is based in elements. So it uses protons, neutrons, electrons, and all that.
Hydrogen there.
So you could make a language out of different elements, but
hydrogen.
You're really starting to oxygen me off.
But I don't know if you want to go that. Do you want your puzzle game to be that?
What?
Or could it be?
Do I want to talk in elements?
Could be your puzzle
I don't,
game, James.
I like the idea of the audio stuff. Like I mean, I'll get it out of my head while I've got the floor. You're in this van, and you've got a bunch of equipment, you've got a bunch of audio equipment, and you've detected a signal coming from outer space. Cool. All right, I can do the twiddling the knobs and all that. But it just gives you a clue to the next thing that you've got to go to. So it would be like, I'm getting a ping over 20 miles away, and then it's a sim. You got to drive your car. You're detecting the outer space signals. You're fending off the FBI that are coming after you because this guy knows too much about the alien signals.
I was just thinking the open world driving, like the storm chaser kind of thing. But you go to phenomena that lead to certain point. Could be lights in the sky that appear every Thursday, and you're like, okay, on Thursday I need to come back here, and that might just give you something you don't need now, but down the line that clicks. I think having some sort of FBI-based combat might take it away from the relaxing sort of mystery.
Okay, fair.
But I really love that idea of driving around a small area. If it's set in the 80s, like a small a small town. Yeah, Nevada. Yeah, you could just be. Well, I guess it makes sense because if you were like a UFologist, that's where you would want to be, right?
And apparently, that's where all the UFOs go. So
that's true.
It's perfect.
Maybe it would be like the 60s or the 70s, perhaps, like after Roswell has taken place. And that's when there's been this whole flood of ufologists. But the idea that you are traveling, like, it reminds me of a film called The Vast of Night, which I think I'm not sure if any of you've seen it or spoken about this before, but essentially it all takes place in a single night or a single evening, and it's about UFO sightings in a small like a classic kind of Americana town, like post-war. I think it's like 50s or something, and it's about the experiences of the people that happen around this town over the course of a few hours. But I like the idea of like if you are this person getting information, like if you're the first ufologist to receive like an audio message in the same way that you get those what's that underwater sound, that really famous one that is like people have managed to, there was some kind of like strange underwater recording that people
wet noise
heard, but it was like wet noise.
Yeah, it's just wet noise.
But, like essentially like they're listening out for like whale noises and this kind of thing. But then there was some other kind of strange noise that sounded like it was created by some kind of huge construct, a huge. But yeah, like if the like, I like the idea of these puzzles like appearing to you in lots of different ways. Like maybe the first thing you get is visual, but then it can kind of build up. You're having to drive around Nevada or around this small town, the different areas, and perhaps like the build up is, like maybe if you understand that actually there's a certain time and a certain place that there is going to be
the stars align.
Yeah, and you like the whole game is you basically solving these puzzles, like moving around different places in this open world structure to lead up to this single moment where a ship appears in the sky, lights in the sky.
Takes you away. So you completed the challenge, so you get to come with us.
You get like really beautiful music as a ship is lifting away. It slowly fades to black, and then it just cuts in with you screaming.
It has to fade to black.
Live
and then
operation.
It slowly peels out, and it's just you being probed.
Yeah, fine. The perfect ending. I mean, it could be like say The Witness, where it's a very, very what's the word, like perfectly crafted island built around specifically all of the individual puzzles. It could be like just a slice of the Nevada desert that's on a time loop, for example. So maybe if there's time-based puzzles, then 2:00 one day is exactly the same as 2:00 the next day or whatever. And it's just, trying to solve all those puzzles, and you're not really locked into time or whatever. It's not like you're going to solve the puzzle and then realize, oh, fuck, I'm like 3 weeks late. Shit. Game over, I guess.
I think. Well, I guess it's the when you figure out the penultimate section of the puzzle, that is the first time that you are able, in some way, to make some kind of contact.
Yeah, you send a message back to signify the end.
Essentially, it's just like sending like a binary.
You have to send
any kind of like.
You have to send a message back, and it has to be unfortunately sent from like 20 different locations in a very, very tight time period. Mm-hmm. So it's like the ending to Outer Wilds, and it's beautiful.
I think along the way, you definitely need to have some like fake out things. You're like, oh, there's a thing over there, I've got to go do that, and it turns out it's just someone's microwave a mile away accidentally pinging you.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And then,
So what tools do you have as a ufologist? You have like the ability to radar.
Got your radar.
Telescope.
You got a satellite. You got a telescope. You've got
eyes.
You've got your own
a very blurry camera. And
your own imagination.
Apparently, just a severe shakes. So every bit of your footage is blurry and shaky.
God, I love that idea of like the clues slowly progressing to a point where things become like yeah, so you've solved clues and you think, oh, maybe something's going on here. You're hearing noises, for example, or you're seeing images, but then a point where you have to use a tool, something as like physical as a telescope, and having that physical connection, like you look through a telescope and actually see something in the sky. That is like a real kind of like hair on the back of your neck.
Yeah,
moment.
I mean, you can take a picture of it as much as you want with the steadiest hands on a tripod with the best camera you can find, but it doesn't matter because they've got camera blurring technology on their
they
shit.
censor themselves.
Yeah, kind of like Torchwood. Just like Torchwood.
Like you could have radio telescopes, so you're into like receiving like bleeps and blops, and some of them are just interference, but then you start like you might hear a pattern, but you have to obviously you can twiddle your knobs and try and clear that up.
Spend all night twiddling your knob.
Will just you got the what are they called? The radar towers of old, where they would play recorded messages. The idea that you could you just stumble across a frequency. Maybe that's the result of one of the clues is like an FM radio frequency or a shortwave radio frequency. And you dial it in, and it's like you start hearing this strange language. Would be really cool.
Yeah, I mean,
and you realize it's just a really bad cover of like just a random song.
Right? Yeah, that could be the fake out, couldn't it?
Yeah, like I think starting the game with all these tools, but having no idea what purpose they'll serve. It reminds me a lot of Tunic, actually.
I've not played Tunic. How does that work?
It's a bit Phasmo-y as well.
Well, yeah, but like with Tunic, the way that the game instructions are described to you is with a game manual, like the actual game manual for Tunic, but it's all written in another language, and it's only through either luck or trial and error or whatever that you actually discover the controls to the game, really, like how to interact with certain object. Like you can just see this object and you've got no idea what you're meant to do with it, and then suddenly you unlock a page from the manual, and it's like all you had to do was fucking spin your analog stick around, and all right, okay, cool. Like you actually learn controls to the game through a puzzle. And it's really cool.
I love that you also saw messages left by someone. No spoilers. In the margins of the manual, and maybe that could factor in here. Maybe there's some timey-wimey shiz, and like you've left yourself a message from like the day before or something, like don't go this way, you're gonna mess with, like could be a result of like the mad materials that you discover, like unobtainium or whatever, that maybe plays with what's going on the planet, and it's like, oh yeah, definite aliens here. Yeah. And then you repeat that again the next day.
Okay. What if story-wise, what if you are a budding ufologist expert who is like called Buddy.
Oh, Buddy the budding
Buddy the budding ufologist.
Buddy UFO, the budding UFO enthusiast.
Yeah. And you have been traveling around Nevada to small towns, Area 51 adjacent, looking for
Area 52
bats.
Then. Yeah.
Area 52. Trying to find any kind of proof of what might be out there. And you receive some kind of strange, the sound. That's the first thing that you pick up on. Some kind of strange sound that you then have to figure out the puzzle. But essentially, though, what is happening is, from the aliens' perspective, they have another alien who is somehow lost or captured.
You're going to meet two aliens?
The aliens have an alien.
You're going to meet one alien. There's one alien. There's already an alien who's been either lost or captured or stranded somehow in Nevada around the area, or has escaped Area 51 or something. The other aliens want them back. They want you to help save this alien, and you're the only person who has understood this message.
You receive communication between the two. So do you receive an SOS from?
No.
They've literally communicated to you.
So essentially, what they've done is they've put out.
Like, hey, we saw what you sent us. We're loving it.
This UFO, this alien,
can't wait to get inside that.
has either crashed or maybe it's been captured as too actiony. Maybe they've just crashed around the area. There's just a single alien, right? They have no way of contacting the aliens, like their brethren who are out in deep space. However, the main aliens know, like, who are out in deep space, know that they're aware that one of their kind has been lost, has landed and needs help on Earth. So they are attempting to contact anyone who is able to help them, who is able to help find this alien and take them take them back home.
Could even be a message intended for the alien, that, like, we know you've crashed. Hey, we want to pick you up. And then you try and piece together the
fucking idiot.
You crashed again, idiot.
You're dead as hell. You are dead as hell.
But so essentially, like, the story is just you having to make first contact and then actually having to actively help find and save this other creature. And perhaps that could be the end of the game. Like, rather than making first contact, you are making first contact, but you're also like saying goodbye to this alien. You're helping guide the alien to a particular point where he can
help him find picked up. Maybe,
help him find home. Yeah. But I like the idea of, like,
I do like that.
That kind of, I feel like that kind of wraps it up in something that has, like, potentially a satisfying ending.
I don't think it needs
rather than just it's conspiracy.
A test. Yeah, I don't think it needs, like, FBI involvement. I don't think it needs Men in Black. It doesn't need anything like that. Like, the moment you incorporate all of that, it becomes so complicated. Like, do I actually have to go on the run from the FBI? Do they just not believe me? All of this shit. It's just, you just fucking getting on with your night.
Yeah.
You're just having a great time.
I like that.
I like the idea that you could bump into the FBI, but they don't give a shit about you. You're just a crackpot. Like, who's this idiot? And that's the only interaction.
I really like the idea that the Area 51 doesn't have anything to do with aliens. It is just top secret research that is completely unrelated to, like, UFOs and aliens. However, there also happens to be alien activity in Nevada that the FBI and the government are completely unaware of.
It's pure coincidence.
Yeah. When that UFO crashed in Roswell, that wasn't an actual alien. 20 meters to the left of that, though. They should have looked over there.
Just over the hill.
If they dug a little bit deeper, they would have found the whole civilization under the surface.
Idiots.
So, is the gameplay of this, you are kind of stationed in your van? Is that the headquarters?
I feel like it's Firewatch, but with vans.
Yeah.
But you can probably drive around as well a little bit. I think you have to drive around. I think the area needs to be, I mean, it's Nevada, so this not meant to sound rude to Nevada. You can have basically fuck all in the entire environment, make it quite big.
Yeah, you could.
But that have key points, and you have a map that you can unfold and, like, you can leave marks on. And,
and you'd have to have a sequence where you've got a speed to a location, like, in time between 2 points. I mean,
I think the map should be one of the, like I was saying with The Witness, it should be filled with maybe seemingly garbage places that just mean nothing. But later on in the game, you're like, I remember that fucking trash can in the corner had 3 dots on it, and I thought nothing of it. But now my mind has been opened. I am wise to what this game is trying to teach me. And I'm going to go exactly to that place, exactly this time, and uncover the secrets of the alien civilization.
That's the letter P, and you're like, I've done it.
I've done it.
I've done it. I've cracked this case. But you could do things like an old map, and it's got, like, Dog's Head Peak, and then you decipher a message, and they're like, there's a rock in the shape of a large animal, and you're like, well, I know that's got to be it. It could be a complete fake out. It's actually just there's another rock down the road. It looks like a bear or something.
Would we have, like, interactions with NPCs? Because that could be a way to get more. Like, you talk to the shopkeep and they're like, oh, old Jerry used to live up by Dog's Head and he randomly disappeared one day.
The dead of night in the middle of nowhere. Ain't no one helping you.
It's just you.
I feel like there's got to be
tools.
Like one 24-hour diner. That's it. And then you can go there and it's purely like to act as like a hint, like a tip. I'm sure, like, I heard that there was some funny business out
Oh,
by
okay, that's
old
interesting.
Jenkins Farm.
Like towards the end of the game when you're out of hints
She's
and
like,
out
I
of
heard
story.
that this is actually this sentence.
I've heard there's an alien there.
I've been serving 4 pots of coffee with all of my arms.
Imagine that. Yeah, imagine the chef
Jesus.
was the alien the whole time. If you'd just gone round the back. Oh, yeah. No, I like that. That's cool.
Have you heard of a game called Heaven's Vault by Inkle?
I have.
They did,
yes, I've played a bit of it. It's good.
Yeah. I wonder if that's kind of like a similar in terms of like
Describe
'cause
it
it's
to me.
So it's you're an archaeologist rather than a ufologist, but you're trying to uncover the you're trying to uncover information about like an old civilization, an ancient civilization through language puzzles like hieroglyphs and things. You probably know more about it than I do, Tom. But that was one of the first things that's kind of like came to mind when you started talking about the Arecibo message and stuff. Like basically different ways of civilizations attempting to communicate through each other.
It does the same sort of deal where you just get a mess of words and the game just gives you a list of options. And I think when you lock stuff in, it then is like almost like Obra Dinn. When you lock in a certain amount, it's then like, yeah, that's it. Well done. You're right on the right path. Congratulations. But anytime you see that word again, you're then like, well, there's no way that means water or whatever else, because it doesn't make sense with the rest of the words I know are guaranteed correct.
Kind of like you brought up Outer Wilds, like you have the translator on that, don't you? So you could have a similar sort of gadget. Maybe you homebrew some stuff. You make something out of a microwave and you look through a lens and it's like changes the letters for you and you can make sense of it. I kind of like the idea that you could be scanning stuff to, as you uncover this language, it changes what it reveals to you. That could be really cool. And then you can have like wildly different lengths of words and stuff, but like one letter could be a whole thing then.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like for the benefit of ease, they are communicating in a way that is easily translatable to English. Or whatever else, because otherwise it'll get super messy, right?
I don't know, because I don't think it would matter, because it could literally be. Yeah, I think you could. Yeah, I don't think that would matter. The point is that I think, well, depending on the story, if it's just a test, then they wouldn't make it easy. They'd just send it to you in English. If it's a message intended for this alien, or that they're not aware of humanity, then it shouldn't be just like a 1-to-1. And you could be like, I've uncovered a set of symbols that, could make could be like Japanese or something. One letter could mean one character could mean a lot of things.
I guess like my feeling is like, could it be a message that is initially intended for this other alien, but once you intercept it, then they're like, oh shit, someone else has seen this. We need their help. And so then it becomes more of a direct interaction.
Don't look at my alien browser history.
New number, who dis?
Yeah.
All you want to do is save a life, an alien life, who doesn't know that you're there or necessarily needs saving.
So what are the main mechanics of this game? You are like, how are you spending? There are some driving elements, right? You're moving between different areas in this vast like desert at nighttime. But then a lot of it is also spent like hunched over a radio. You're kind of listening to frequencies.
I also think going and placing certain equipment and leaving it there and coming back to check to see if it's picked anything up. Not do it every time. Idea. Like I think having to place stuff at locations that you believe are important because of the information you have now, and then you might find out something else later, and you're like, "Oh, I'm nearby, but I've put this in the wrong place. This is why I've not picked anything up." I thought I was just having to wait extra time. But I feel like being able to do that and sort of planning your time, because you might be like, I don't have enough time today to go get that one, so I'll do that tomorrow. But then you could miss a really big clue that you've just wasted a day. Not that it really matters how long it takes, unless it does. I don't know. Do we have like some sort of, you have 2 weeks or he bleeds out?
I don't think so. I like the idea of like what, like Tom, you were saying about the that kind of like it's almost got like a time loopy feel. Like perhaps it's not time loop, but like you're not repeating the same day, but essentially every day basically feels the same.
So a day.
Because
just a day night cycle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Every day is a day, and it's not a loop.
Well, but I was thinking in terms of like,
hours in it.
Is there a town? Is there like a kind of like a deadbeat town, or like a not quite a ghost town, but like the kind of thing that you'd expect in Nevada?
I think
with
there
like
should
a
be
single diner and a couple of houses
like a
around.
stop.
a hardware shop. Like if you're building your own equipment, maybe you need a couple of nails and tape and stuff like that. You can go and top up your inventory.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
I think you'd need to. I like the idea that depending. I think it would work for either story if it's just a test or if there's a alien refugee, that you'd uncover alien relics, artifacts, bits of ship or stuff that you could then incorporate into your own detection equipment maybe, or that you'd be like, oh, I found an energy cell or I found a bit of metal, I'll go sell it and I can get a hammer from the or maybe not sell but trade. You could do stuff like that.
Yeah, I like the idea of having some kind of interaction with this small town or like with other people, because it feels like, I don't know, like that in my head, that sense of like Area 51 and Nevada and that kind of area, like I have a really strong image of like what a small town feels like in that. And then I feel like even just by having very basic interactions with other people, like there's probably a lot of people that live in and around those areas who are just completely done with the idea of ufologists and aliens, and
I feel like it
no
comes
one
back
believes in
to Tom's tinfoil hat thing right at the start. Like everyone's like, "Who are you?" Oh, another UFO person. Oh,
yeah.
But then there's like the one guy in town who everyone thinks he's crazy, and that could just be a complete like red herring where he's like, yeah, I was abducted over here, and they took me, and you're like, sure, I guess I'll look, but you never know, it could be true,
could be Garbo.
Could be Garbo.
I was looking at UFO hunting equipment. Turns out it's not particularly crazy, honestly. It's basically binoculars, telescope, EMF meters, which I guess makes sense. Yeah, I mean, electromagnetic, like, I guess that makes sense. And predominantly just a ton of recording equipment. Also laser scopes and laser grids and things like that. I don't know. I mean, it could be cool
like
if there's like a particular area in the game that your tools do nothing, but for some reason, if you run a laser through it, it literally bends the physics of it and shoots it in a different direction. You're like, oh, cool. I know there's something here. I just don't know exactly what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Like maybe even like leaving your van, you bring your GoPro, or I guess not GoPro then, literally like a VHS camera, audio recorder and stuff. You literally just walk out and maybe nothing happens. But then when you get back to the van, you have the option to then review the footage, and you realize like at a certain point where you're walking, like waves of static or something comes up that you didn't detect. Like literally just walking around, looking around properly. And then you're like, cool, I know there's something here because I saw it in the camera that I couldn't detect otherwise.
Thing. You could set up like camera traps, as it were. You set your VHS camera recording, and then you can review the footage. Obviously, you don't have to sit through 24 hours of footage, but you could just be like, it will home in on a section. And I get that. Yeah. Like, if you ever saw Signs,
I was about to say,
I was just thinking of
that really fucking killed me. Yeah.
Brilliant. And
are you talking about the birthday scene?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, awful. I hated it.
Haunting.
just the worst.
In the same way, you could have the baby monitor as well, so you could be like hearing the like clicks and weird sounds coming through your radio. It's like, I think all of those things would work really well for this.
But you run towards them rather than away.
Except you don't run away because you're like, no, take me with you.
I really like that investigative, because there's an element of like, we've talked a little while ago about one of the ideas we had was like it was almost like this, but from the perspective of Men in Black, where aliens are real and other paranormal things are real, and you're going around different small American towns trying to cover it up, basically. but I love that feeling of like this style of gameplay where it almost does feel like a narrative phasmophobia, where you have your van, you have your equipment in it, you're upgrading equipment, like adding new equipment, and you are constantly I love the idea of like as like you the connection between, or the idea that you are going to get any confirmation that aliens do actually exist, and that they are real and they are contacting you. You have to put so much faith into it, that like it's almost as though like, you can go through the entire game. It's only at the end of the game, where you've been solving all of these puzzles, that you actually get a proper confirmation, like a proper like reception back from the aliens, or you see the lights in the sky.
And it's an Arecibo dick message, right?
And it's just a giant. It says Carl Sagan's cock sent back to him, saying, "Please, don't send this
again."
We
can call it sex files.
Is this where we realise that it's not actually set on Earth? You're the alien. You're the planet 25,000.
Oh, so the end of the game,
you never
is
see
like,
your hands.
Yeah, the end of the game, it's like you put down all your recording equipment, satisfied, and you look in the mirror, and you're this like blue dude with like eye stalks and stuff.
And then Carl Sagan's hands come over your shoulders, like, "Thanks for saving me." Just kissing you on the cheek.
Is that what we're calling this?
And then he
Carl
goes,
Sagan's sex files. Damn it.
Carl Sagan's sex files.
I thought we were done with the celebrity endorsements, but apparently not. Let's bring it
back. Okay. This might be like the kind of, not mechanic free, but we've started off from a very general idea and kind of like honed in a little bit. But like, where are we with this currently, Tom? Are you able to give us a steam description of this game?
Carl Sagan's sex files is a unique.
Can I just say one thing?
Go on.
I was looking up, like, we're looking at phasmophobia. So I looked up the fear of aliens, and it's xenophobia, which I feel like is not a great name for a game.
Yeah, kind of been co-opted a bit, that one, hasn't it?
Yeah. All right, Tom, carry on.
Carl Sagan's Sex Files, which is not the name of the game. It's actually Buddy UFO's Journey Through Time. Is a unique adventure where you receive a message from the aliens, and for some reason only you can identify the initial seed that will sprout the tree, broadening your horizons and opening your mind as you explore the desolate desert landscape of Nevada, 1962. And using the tools at your disposal as a UFO hunting expert, you do some things. You find an alien. You
solve some puzzles.
It's an immersive puzzle-solving experience where theoretically everything could be solved straight away if you use the tools in the correct way, or you're kind of
if you just find the alien in the bin, he's hiding in the bin.
You just look in the right place. There he is. You pick up messages, you decipher them, you use that information to decipher for further messages, and eventually you look up in the mirror and realize that the craft you were saving was actually a NASA spaceship with Carl Sagan inside, and you were the alien all along, and you weren't in Nevada, you were on Mars.
You can't be the alien all along.
Why not?
If I looked up and saw me and I thought I was looking for an alien, I wouldn't then be an alien. I would be human.
I mean, imagine... But imagine like all this build up of like,
I'm an alien, and you don't just go, wait, I can't be an alien. I'm me. And everyone else on this planet is also the same species.
There's no other people in this storyline. There's no other people, so you're never twigged into it. You're driving a van that looks van-like with tools like.
It's still on Earth.
Why is this van hovering in 1962?
Why are we in Nevada? And why is it 1962?
You think it doesn't open up with Nevada 1962. It's just an open desert.
It
right?
opens up with Nevada, Mars, 1962.
It says Nevada, Mars, 1962.
And like all this build up, all the puzzle solving, you've done the final like sequence of events. You've gone to this destination. You've triangulated this thing. You've managed to get the final sequence, and you crest that hill, and it turns out it's like a NASA spaceship. You're just like, what's going on here? And the twist is that you are discovering a human crash landing, not an alien crash landing. I think that's pretty cool.
But
I actually genuinely think that's
can I say one thing that kind of breaks this entirely?
Sure.
Yeah.
You are receiving messages that you don't understand.
Yeah.
But they're going to be written in English.
Because everyone knows that everyone's perception of their own language is it's in English. So
even I understand English.
No.
It doesn't matter if it the A looks a bit weird.
The English language that you are speaking is alien, and the English that they're sending forward is alien to you.
Yes,
so
I'm saying as a human player, when I see that,
it doesn't spell out hi. It doesn't spell out like, as soon as I've crashed.
As soon as you
NASA.
just decrypt it, you would be in English.
No. Well, probably. It depends what information they're sending forward. Because most likely it's coordinates and time and different information like that. Certain frequencies or whatever else, right? Not necessarily literally words. But even then, this is just for some dumb payoff at the end of the game.
Yeah, I feel like we might have to day one patch.
I wish I had not said it now. I kind of liked. Yeah, I've lost it now. I think we should just be not an alien. Take it back.
What a great twist, though.
All right. Look, well, there are two versions of this game. Either we're the aliens, or everyone else is the aliens.
Yeah. And there's two versions of either of those where you're either finding an alien or it's a big test to get abducted at the end.
Yeah.
So you're either being probed or probing. Those are the two endings.
It'd be a better ending. Carl Sagan comes out of his NASA spaceship.
Sorry,
and
he
then
does
his cock out.
He does what out of his NASA spaceship?
He walks, out of his spaceship, and then the ending cutscene post-credits, you are just pounding that probe in. He's dead.
Just use the up and down arrow keys. Up and down arrow keys.
It's like that scene in Dead Space 2, or is it 3? I can't remember. With the eye thing.
That's the worst thing you said on this podcast. Right, we have to stop. We have to stop there because
it's far too hot for this shit.
The heat's getting to us.
If you think you can do it, you think you can do a better job.
Yeah, good luck,
taking this idea. Good luck, because this is
make
gold.
your own podcast, prick.
You can tell us. You can tell us about how shit we are and how much you're going to make another podcast that's going to be better by contacting us. How can they do that, Tom?
Oh, you can contact us on Twitter at pitchpleasepod, which is pitchpleasepod without any vowels, or you can send us an email, pitchpleasepod@yogscast.com, or you can send a message across the stars.
Send it across the stars.
Send us a binary message that we have to
in English.
Oh, it has to be a really fucking good game idea for us to put all this time and effort in to decipher it. And it turns out it's Dwarf Fortress, but they're actually dwarves or some bullshit. Dwarf Fortress, but it's Stardew Valley. Oh, fuck me.
All right.
You're angry at your own idea.
So,
yeah, no, I'm angry at the concept of bad ideas at this point. What if it was,
we can't help that. That's what this show's about.
What if it was GTA, but it had farming? No one cares. No one would play it. That's what.
Thank you for listening to us and our crackpot alien ideas.
I believe.
I believe.
The truth is out there.
Do you believe? Please let us know if you believe. Because this podcast is now just ufology, conspiracy theories from now on.
Back to back.
We're renaming it.
I don't think it's really changed.
Conspiracy, please.
Thank you. Conspiracy, please. Thank you for listening. We will be with you next time. Until then, goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye now. Bye now. Bye now.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Watch the skies.
Watch out.
What don't?
There they are.
I halfway through the episode, I looked outside and I looked straight at the sun, and then I couldn't see for 5 minutes.
I thought it was in response to something I was saying.
No, I was just closing my eyes,
just
and like trying
for
to.
fuck's sake!
I thought you were going to say you looked outside and there was an alien.
Well, I mean, there was a swamp.
Hey, heard you talking shit.
Steve. You understand English?
That's lucky.
Do you reckon the Carl Sagan probing scene would be like a quick time event?
Yeah.
Or it's the button mash?
WS.
Oh no! Also, who's Carl Sagan?